Every month, the iOS and Android marketplaces are absolutely overloaded. I'm Falcon, and today on Gameranx, the 7 best new iOS and Android games of October 2017. Quick little disclaimer, these are not the free games. We do a free games video, and that'll be out in a few days. Number 7 is Warhammer Quest 2. Let's just go ahead and say the first is absolutely one of the best turn-based experiences on mobile, and unfortunately, the studio that made it went under, but some of the people from that studio are in Perchang, who made this, Warhammer Quest 2, and it shows. Now, it's important to keep in mind this is not a revolutionary game, but rather an evolutionary game. The graphics are upgraded, the gameplay has a little more depth, but it's very much similar to the original. That being said, the original came out in 2013 and is a very dated game at this point. This sequel pretty much cures all of that. It's phenomenal. I'm glad they didn't change a lot, personally. Number 6 is Subspace Terminal, which is a detective story that takes place entirely on a train full of robots. And yes, it is every bit as good as one of these stories can be. If you are into the questions of Android existence, this is one of those games you want to play, but be warned, it is not a long game. It has a fun interrogation mode, it has some logic puzzles, but make no mistake, this is very much a narrative game, and it's told with such competence, feeling, and care that I can truly hardly say anything other to you besides this is a phenomenal game, and it's really worth going into without knowing a whole lot because the story is great. Number 5, on the total opposite end of the spectrum, is Kickass Commandos, which is a dual-stick shooter that adopts a very large number of 1980s gaming conventions, including aesthetic, but this is also a game that probably couldn't have been made in the 1980s, at least in the smoothness of it, and the fact that twin-stick shooters really weren't how things were done back then. This is definitely a chaotic game. It can get a little bit hard to keep track of what's going on, but there are a lot of different power-ups, a lot of different weapons, and it reeks of the 1980s and 1990s type military explosion game, just a little more modern. Number 4 is another dual-stick shooter. Time Recoil is decidedly a bit more modern in its approach, at least aesthetically speaking, but I think there's an argument that the mechanics due to the level design is more like recent dual-stick shooters or top-down shooters than 80s and 90s ones. The graphics in this game are 3D, and what the game is going for benefits tremendously from this because the colors distinguish everything that's going on very well. It gets chaotic, but it does manage to stay distinguished enough that you can tell what's going on at all times, and the level design I really enjoy. There's destructible parts of the environments that I think really make everything interesting, and I would say this is definitely a good one to try. Number 3, Rekt, a stunt arena, I guess crash fest. The game is not fooling around, it is a very easy game to crash in, but that's not to say the controls aren't good, they are actually phenomenal. There are no buttons on this screen, and after literally about a minute you will be so used to the controls that it really is just skills, learning, getting better, practicing, that kind of thing. The game puts itself in a bunch of different neon-colored arenas and asks you basically to stunt the place up. There's obstacles that, yes, are destructible, not all of them, but enough of them that it is a very dynamic feeling game. And I have to say, this is a really well optimized title for mobile. You will be getting high frames per second, and considering how smooth the controls are, having a frame rate that matches it really makes this game a significant time waster. It is a lot of fun, and you'll get sucked into it, I promise. Just maybe turn the background music off or play your own music or something, because that background music is really bad. It's not good. Other than that, really phenomenal game. Number 2 is Dragon Hills 2, and if you yearn for the time when a lot of physics-based games that were premium, not throwing tons of crap at you that you needed to buy or watch ads to use, this is that kind of a game. You ride a dragon that digs through the ground and flies through the air, and I'm about 90% sure you've seen physics like this before, but it very notably is one of the smoothest titles of a side-scrolling nature I've seen in at least a few months. It feels like a little longer to me. It's got a great art style, it's fun, it's very arcadey, except for obviously it's not making you chuck money in order to win. It's pretty sad that a lot of this has pretty much taken over, and it's really nice to see a game that is actually a lot of fun, that runs this well, that takes a lot of these kind of forgotten concepts that have been left behind and refines them and gives you a very well presented version of them. And this is a fun, absorbing title that actually does a great job, kind of harkening back to when mobile gaming had a lot more promise, if you ask me. And finally, number 1 is the Talos Principle, which originally came out on other platforms in 2014, but if you haven't played this brainbuster, now is a very good time to do so. Playing it on mobile actually feels very good. It's a really well done port, plays very smoothly, really reminds me very much of the PC version without a lot of the typical mobile concessions. And as far as sci-fi puzzle games go, there's very little you can say that could really work as a massive criticism of this game. It is among the best of all time, easily. It's fantastic it's out on mobile. Get it if you haven't played it, period. And a quick bonus game for you as well. Thimbleweed Park, a game by 2 original LucasArts creators who were involved in both Monkey Island and Maniac Mansion, 2 of the finest adventure games of all time, have made a return to the genre. It is in every way exactly what you would hope it to be, and might even be a little bit more. I really enjoy this game. It's been out on other platforms, and frankly, it's great it's on mobile. What was your favorite iOS or Android game this month? Leave us a comment, and if you enjoyed this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now would be a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on Gameranx.